When a man finds himself in a relationship with a younger woman, one of the biggest mistakes he can make is believing that her interest can only be sustained by money, gifts, or material gestures. Too many older men fall into this trap because they assume that their age difference creates a gap that must be filled with lavish spending. They think that without constantly treating her, buying her expensive things, or funding every aspect of her lifestyle, she'll lose interest. But the truth is, when you start overcompensating with money, you immediately change the dynamic of the relationship. Instead of being respected and desired for who you are, you begin to be viewed as a provider, a wallet, or someone who needs to earn affection. That dynamic destroys real attraction because authentic connection can never be purchased. It has to be earned through confidence, presence, and strength of character. You see, younger women are often surrounded by people who chase them for superficial reasons. They get attention because of their beauty, their youth, and their energy. But what they don't find easily is a man who can ground them, a man who offers wisdom and emotional stability. If you're older, that's where your strength lies. Your value isn't in outspending the next guy, it's in showing her something she can't get from someone her own age. Maturity, direction, and the ability to stay calm when the world gets chaotic. The moment you start throwing money around to impress her, you're telling her without words that you don't believe those qualities are enough. And once you doubt your own value, she will doubt it too. Another danger of overcompensating with money is that it attracts the wrong type of relationship. If a woman is with you mainly because of what you can provide financially, then her respect and loyalty will always be conditional. The minute someone else offers more, she'll be tempted. That's not real respect and certainly not real love. You don't want a relationship where you're constantly on edge, worried that your generosity is the only thread keeping her there. What you want is a bond where she looks at you and admires the man you are, the way you carry yourself, the confidence you show, and the life you've built. Those are things that last far longer than money thrown on the table. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you should never treat a woman or that being generous is a weakness. True generosity is powerful when it comes from a place of abundance, not insecurity. Taking her out, enjoying nice experiences together, sharing what you have, that's part of being in a healthy relationship. The problem is when your generosity becomes the foundation of the connection, when you give because you fear that without giving, she'll walk away. And a confident man knows that his attention, his presence, and his time are the greatest gifts he can offer. Money can enhance those things, but it should never replace them. There's also another layer here. When you overcompensate, you rob her of the chance to actually invest in you. Relationships thrive when both people contribute, not when one person carries all the weight. If you're always paying, always doing, always giving, she never gets to show her care, her thoughtfulness, or her ability to meet you halfway. And over time, that imbalance kills attraction. The healthiest relationships are partnerships, not one-sided arrangements. By giving her the space to invest in you, whether it's through effort, affection, or small acts of kindness, you create a deeper bond that money could never buy. At the core of it all is respect. Women don't truly respect men who try to buy love because it feels weak, and weakness kills attraction. A younger woman might enjoy the gifts at first, but over time she will lose admiration if she senses that without those gifts, you feel like you're not enough. What she truly wants is a man who can stand tall in his value, who doesn't need to prove himself through his bank account. She wants to feel chosen by a man who could give but doesn't need to, because his energy, his presence, and his leadership already speak volumes. So, if you're an older man dating a younger woman, never fall into the trap of overcompensating with money or gifts. Be generous from a place of strength, not insecurity. Show her that your true value is not in what you can buy, but in who you are. Because at the end of the day, no matter how young or beautiful she is, she will always respect the man who knows he is enough without having to prove it. And that is the kind of man who keeps her interest and admiration for the long run. One of the most damaging mistakes an older man can make when he is with a younger woman is to try to act like he's her age. Too often, older men believe that to keep up with a younger partner, they must blend in with her lifestyle, her energy, or her social circle. They start dressing like someone in their 20s, they force themselves into activities that don't suit them, and worst of all, they compromise their natural confidence by pretending to be someone they're not. What they fail to realize is that the very thing that attracted her in the first place wasn't that he could act like a younger guy, it was that he had something those younger men didn't: maturity, self assurance, and the kind of life experience that only time can give. When you abandon those qualities to chase after her world, you strip yourself of the one thing that made you stand out in the first place. Women, especially younger women, can sense authenticity. They can tell when a man is comfortable in his own skin, and they can tell when he's pretending. The moment you start trying too hard to fit into her generation, you instantly become less attractive, because what she really wanted wasn't another boy her age. It was a man who knows who he is, who doesn't need to dance on TikTok just to look cool, who doesn't need to pretend he enjoys things he doesn't just to gain approval. She wants the contrast, the stability, the strength that comes from a man who embraces his age with pride rather than tries to hide from it. There's a huge difference between sharing interests and pretending. If you want to go out with her friends, enjoy her music, or explore new hobbies, you can support her. You can even join in if you genuinely enjoy those things. But if you're only doing it because you're afraid she'll think you're boring otherwise, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Attraction is rooted in respect, and respect comes from standing firm in your identity, not abandoning it. When you lose yourself in an effort to impress her, you actually communicate weakness. Instead of thinking, wow, he's fun and young at heart, she starts thinking, if he's pretending just to keep me, maybe he doesn't believe he's enough. That loss of respect is the slow death of attraction. An older man's strength is his maturity. Younger women often find themselves drawn to men who can offer guidance, perspective, and wisdom. When she's stressed, when she's insecure, when life feels confusing, you can bring a sense of calm and certainty that her peers cannot. But if you dilute that by trying to act like one of those peers, she loses the very quality that made her look up to you. It's not about age, it's about energy. You don't need to have the same youthful energy she does. You need to balance it with steadiness. When she sees you as the anchor in her storm, she will admire and respect you far more than if you were just another guy trying to match her speed. Pretending also breeds insecurity within you. The more you act out of character, the more you rely on her validation to feel okay. You'll catch yourself wondering if she thinks you're cool enough, young enough, exciting enough. That mindset is poison, because a confident man never seeks to be enough by someone else's standard. He defines his own worth. And when you stand firm in that, she naturally feels pulled into your frame. Remember, she chose you not because you were just like her, but because you were different in a way that felt powerful. Now, this doesn't mean you should shut down everything she enjoys or refuse to try new experiences. Growth is important, curiosity is attractive, and being open-minded shows strength. But there's a difference between expanding yourself and abandoning yourself. Learn from her, enjoy her perspective, but always bring her into your world as well. Show her your passions, your wisdom, your lifestyle, and give her something to respect and be curious about. That balance creates attraction that lasts, because She doesn't just see you as a partner, she sees you as a leader she can admire. At the heart of it, younger women respect older men who own who they are. If you're confident in your maturity, your wisdom, and your ability to stand firm in yourself, she'll never see your age as a weakness, she'll see it as a strength. But if you try to erase that difference by pretending to be younger, you're not only fighting a losing battle, you're throwing away the very advantage that set you apart. The key isn't to become her age, it's to embrace your own. Because a man who is unapologetically himself is far more irresistible than one who hides behind a mask. So never try to act younger just to hold on to her, because the only thing she'll hold on to is the man who's brave enough to be himself without apology. Another mistake older men often make when they are with younger women is becoming overly controlling or possessive. They think that because they have more life experience, they automatically know what's best for her, and they begin to treat her more like a student than a partner. Instead of being the strong, grounded man she respects, they turn into someone who is constantly monitoring her, questioning her decisions, or trying to shape her life according to their own expectations. At first, they might justify this behavior as protecting her or guiding her, but in reality, it comes across as insecurity and fear of losing her. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who tries to control a woman out of fear. What men often forget is that a younger woman doesn't choose to be with an older man because she wants a parent or a boss. She chooses him because she admires his maturity, his independence, and the way he stands firm in his own life. She wants to feel free to express herself, to grow, and to live her life without feeling like she's trapped under constant supervision. When an older man starts becoming possessive, always asking where she's going, who she's with, or why she didn't answer her phone immediately, he's no longer showing strength. He's showing weakness. He's showing her that he's so uncertain about his own value that he feels the need to cage her in, and that sends her running. Respect is at the core of any healthy relationship, and respect means giving space. It means trusting that if she's with you, it's because she wants to be, not because you're forcing her to stay. The more freedom you allow her, the more she will respect you, because freedom is attractive. It shows confidence. A man who doesn't need to control is a man who believes in himself, and that kind of self-assurance makes her want to give you her loyalty willingly. On the other hand, the moment you start trying to control her every move, you push her away emotionally. She may stay physically present for a while, but mentally she's already drifting toward freedom, because nobody wants to feel suffocated in a relationship. Possessiveness also creates tension and unnecessary conflict. If every time she goes out with her friends you interrogate her, or if every time she talks to another man you react with suspicion, you're not only exhausting her, you're exhausting yourself. You're turning the relationship into a constant power struggle instead of a place of connection and peace. And what's ironic is that the very thing you fear, losing her, becomes more likely the tighter you try to hold on. Because people don't stay where they feel controlled, they stay where they feel valued and respected. As an older man, your role is not to limit her, but to inspire her. Instead of telling her what she can't do, show her by example what it means to live with purpose, strength, and clarity. Lead with your actions, not your restrictions. When she sees you as someone who has his own life, his own passions, and his own confidence, she won't feel the need to test boundaries. She'll naturally want to invest more into the relationship because she sees you as someone who lifts her up instead of dragging her down. This is where emotional security becomes critical. Younger women are drawn to older men partly because they crave that sense of stability. But stability doesn't mean rules and control, it means composure and trust. It means that when she tests your patience, when she pushes buttons, when she does things that make you feel insecure, you respond with calm confidence instead of panic. That's when she truly feels that she's with a man, not a boy in disguise. So never fall into the trap of controlling her, because control is a mask for insecurity, and insecurity is the quickest way to lose her respect. Instead, let her be free, let her breathe, and show her that your confidence isn't dependent on what she does, it's rooted in who you are. And when she sees that, she'll never want to leave, because a man who trusts her and himself is the man she can't resist. One of the biggest mistakes older men can make when they are with younger women is trying too hard to act young themselves. Instead of embracing the maturity, wisdom, and life experience that make them attractive in the first place, they start copying the habits, language, or lifestyle of someone half their age. They may dress like a teenager, spend all their time chasing trends, or pretend to share interests that don't genuinely align with who they are at first. They think this will help them fit in or make the age gap less noticeable, but in reality, it does the exact opposite. It highlights insecurity. It shows the younger woman that instead of being comfortable in his own skin, this man is desperately trying to be someone he's not. And the truth is, nothing turns a woman off faster than a man who betrays his authenticity just to gain approval. The real attraction of an older man lies in his difference, not his sameness. A younger woman is drawn to an older man because he offers something she can't find in men her own age. He's supposed to have composure, direction, and a deeper sense of who he is. He's supposed to be the man who doesn't chase trends because he's already built a life that stands on its own foundation. If instead he starts trying to blend in with her friends or prove he can keep up with her social circle, he loses the very quality that made him stand out to begin with. Instead of being her anchor, he becomes just another person drifting with the crowd. Trying too hard to act young also creates an imbalance of respect. While she may initially laugh or play along, deep down she loses admiration for a man who denies his true self. Women respect men who own their identity with confidence. If you are older, you should carry that age with pride, not shame. Your experience, your stability, your ability to stay grounded when life gets messy, these are the traits that give you an edge over younger men. But if you give that up just to fit into her world, you send the message that you don't see your own value, and if you don't see it, she won't either. This doesn't mean you should avoid having fun or enjoy new experiences. In fact, one of the great benefits of being with a younger woman is that she can bring energy, excitement, and fresh perspective into your life. But the key is balance. You can appreciate her world without losing your own. You can share in her fun without pretending you're 20 again. The moment you cross the line into mimicry, forcing yourself into places or behaviors that don't reflect who you are, you shift from being attractive to being try hard. And women have a radar for that. They can feel when a man is not being authentic. And once they sense it, the respect starts to fade. Instead, the stronger move is to set the tone by being unapologetically yourself. If she likes certain music, listen with her, but don't suddenly pretend you've always been a fan. If she enjoys certain hobbies, be open to experiencing them, but don't abandon the passions that make you unique. If she goes out with her younger friends, join sometimes, but don't force yourself to be part of every outing. A younger woman doesn't need you to be her mirror. She needs you to be her balance. She needs you to be the man who grounds her, not the man who competes with her lifestyle. At the heart of it, attraction comes from polarity. She's drawn to your maturity because it contrasts with her youth. If you erase that contrast by trying to act her age, you destroy the dynamic that makes the relationship exciting. But if you embrace your role fully, if you are confident in your identity, proud of your journey, and unafraid to be yourself, you deepen the attraction. You create an energy where she feels both safe and inspired, where she sees you as the man who brings depth and stability to her world, not as someone scrambling to keep up with her pace. So never make the mistake of denying who you are just to seem younger. Instead, embrace your age, your experience, and your wisdom, because that's what makes you valuable. That's what sets you apart. And when you stand firm in your authenticity, she won't just respect you, she'll admire you in a way that no younger man can compete with.